Do you actually want to be good, or do you really just want things to be easy? That, according to Nietzsche, is the essential question of morality. What's really going on when people preach their moral rules to you? Whether it's something as simple as saying, always make sure you say please and thank you, or whether it's something more serious like saying, don't ever use that N word, or make sure you include everybody. Those things that people are insisting on may have something quite important behind them. But what's going on with the people who use them to police your behavior? Well, often what they're doing is satisfying that anger in themselves, right? Often what they're doing is having an opportunity to righteously condemn you, take out their aggression against you. What's going on in you when you want to do those things, right? You have those rules and you say, oh, I know for sure if I do this, I'm going to do the correct thing. Well, that's really satisfying the accountant in you, the one that wants to keep all the records straight, Or, it satisfies the bureaucrat in you, the one who doesn't have to think for her or himself, but just follows rules. Like, okay, now I know the rule, I'm going to carry out my job. And that itself is related to the pleasure you get in not having to grapple with the complexities of your own feelings, right? In place of the desire you have to do this and the worry you have about this and the concern you have about this thing, you just say, oh, I don't have to get involved with that because I've got the rule. I'm just going to follow it, right? So it also really eases your dealing with yourself. When morality is taken up as that set of rules for correct behavior, that's what Nietzsche calls slave morality. That's morality understood as the ways people are going to behave in order to be mean, to be accountants, to be bureaucrats, to hide from themselves, right? That's not real morality. Real morality, what Nietzsche calls master morality, is when you actually deal with the demands of the situation. Take responsibility on yourself for figuring out what the right thing is to do. So like I said before, those moral rules may have good reasons behind them. But when you're following them as rules, you're not paying attention to the reasons. You just want to be a good rule follower. If you're really going to be moral, you're going to attend to what those reasons are. And you're going to use your own resources and your own powers to figure out what it is that needs to be done in dealing with those issues and those situations. But that means your moral behavior is also going to be a kind of self-assertion. You're going to be putting forward your own authority to deal with these things, right? So moral behavior is really risky, and it really depends on a kind of trust and assurance in yourself, which precisely means when you actually act morally for real, those rule followers are going to say, how dare you do that, right? Because rule following is a matter of fear, whereas real morality is a matter of daring and risk. So the real question is, do you want to be part of the herd, as Nietzsche says, like finding a way that you can just go along smoothly with what everybody is going to consent to? Or are you going to be someone who actually stands out for actually caring about what really matters? If you're really going to be moral, it's more like being an artist, where you're following the call of something, which, as he says, is so hard, it can't be formulated in concepts. And Nietzsche says the same thing about religion. He says people like to just go to church and follow the rules, go through the ceremonies, whatever, and feel like, oh, I'm saved. But he says that's not what the religion was like for the people who made it. As he says, the Christian martyrs were people for whom Christianity hurt. And he says the saints, similarly, are people who faced something that was so hard and brought out of themselves an answerability to that all great people admire them. So just like the Christianity of the martyrs and the Christianity of the saints is different from the Christianity of, going to church on Sunday, real morality is not that easy herd method of just calculating what you're supposed to do to get it right on every occasion. Real morality is finding yourself wholly answerable to the demands of the situation with no one else to turn to solve that problem.